So are these thoughts keeping you in your emotional eating a cycle? Let's dive in. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And I wanted to talk about these thoughts that may be keeping you stuck in your emotional eating loop. So these thoughts might sound like every time you look at your plate, you question how much you're eating, you judge yourself for how much you're eating. You question what's on your plate. You want to eat in a different way. You want your body to look a different way. Every time you pass by the mirror, you say something critical to yourself. And there are just these constant thoughts, these critical thoughts swirling in your head. And you think, I'm going to ignore these thoughts. I'm going to keep going. And when I finally reach that perfect place, these thoughts are going to disappear. So I have some news for you. These thoughts are not going to disappear when you reach that perfect place. They're always in the background, sort of swirling around. And right now you can hear them, but sometimes you can't hear them. So what I see with clients when I'm working with them inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program is that these thoughts that, we might just think thoughts are just swirling around our brain and they're kind of in the air. But thoughts connect back to a root cause of where they were created. These thoughts that are judging us and criticizing us, these voices we have in our head, they're almost like if you were to be holding a kite. The kite swirling around are these thoughts. And if you were to follow that back down to the person holding the kite, that would be the beginning of where these thoughts originated. We have these thoughts. What happens, these thoughts are almost like a distraction to us. They're constantly pulling us, telling us if we act and be and look and eat in a certain way, then we're going to finally be acceptable to ourselves. But we would have first learned this from our parents or caregivers, from our society, and we started using this. We adopted these thoughts because as humans, we want to be liked. We want to be included. We want to belong. And if this is what we have to do, well, we're going to kind of give up who we are, especially when we're children. So when we're younger, if we don't get the love and acceptance of our parents or caregivers or those around us, we start trying to fit ourselves into a box. This is not our box. This is not what our body or what we authentically need. We start manipulating ourselves. We want to fit in. We want to look like everyone else. And that creates a level of trauma in our body, emotional discomfort, which is what creates our emotional eating pattern. So then we're out of control with food. But then we think, oh, it's about the food. I need to eat less. If I eat less, I'm going to weigh less, and then I'm going to finally be accepted. It doesn't really work that way. Your body is unique to you. You have to honor what your body needs. And so we get caught up in this, and all of these thoughts, we're judging ourselves. A lot of my clients, because this is so prevalent in our society and so normalized, they think this is a normal thought, a healthy thought to think about themselves. So every time they eat, oh, I ate too much. There's something deeper going on there. Maybe your body needed that nourishment. Are you satisfied after that meal, or are you judging you ate too much? Were you stuffed after that meal? Did you overeat? Did you not eat in a way that satisfied you? And this is why hunger is a key component inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program. But if you keep judging yourself, even if you have a meal and you feel satisfied, that judgment, these critical thoughts, put your body into stress mode, and you're pulling yourself further and further away from maybe the results you think you want. So sometimes that's to look in the mirror and see a body that you think is acceptable. That might mean losing weight. But you're also pushing your body away with these critical thoughts. You're pushing your body away from proper digestion, better moods, better self-esteem, better confidence, better immunity, weight loss, the list goes on. And they're actually triggering you into your emotional eating. They're a layer of it, because what they say to me when I hear those thoughts is that you don't accept yourself. And trust me, I have lots of women that have done a lot of work on themselves come into my program, and they're like, no, I accept myself. I want to work out because it's for my health. But when we do the deeper work, when we go into those parts of them that are judging them that is creating that pain. It's not really, that's their conscious reason. They want to get healthy. This is consciously what they're thinking. And our conscious mind is really only 5%. But subconsciously, the deeper sort of thing running the show is that, oh, if I look this way, I'll finally be accepted. Maybe if I eat a little less, I'll finally lose the weight and be accepted. And this is playing out under the surface. So consciously, you might feel you accept yourself, but these are the subtle ways that this voice comes through. It's a voice of judgment. It's a voice of trying to change yourself. It's a voice of non-acceptance. And so you have to look at, why are you judging yourself? Why are you trying to fit yourself into a box? I'll give an example. So for a very, very long time, I needed to eat a lot. And what I discovered was that and I would judge myself because I ate more than anyone around me. I ate more than my male partners or just people around me. I just needed more to fill my stomach. And what I realized through my journey is that we have stretch receptors in our stomach. And so I needed to feel that. And I needed more fruits and vegetables. I needed more vegetables in a meal to feel satisfied. And if I kind of traced it back to when I was very young and I would have, a meal with maybe rice or beans, I needed vegetables with it. I never felt satisfied. And so now I love salads. I need to eat lots of vegetables to feel satisfied, but I need to make sure I have density with those vegetables. So there's enough nutrients, there's enough fats, and there's enough proteins and carbohydrates and all of that. So I feel satisfied, but I'm eating a big quantity of food, but it's nutritionally balanced. And so if I were to maybe compare myself, I had a client, she wanted to eat like the French, it's like, I just want to go out and have like a chocolate croissant and have a glass of wine and be like thin and live this fabulous life. And this is like a fantasy because there is a level of damage to your health if you were to eat that way all the time. I'm not saying some people can't do that, but for her specific body, because she had yo-yo dieted for so many years, you have to realize and recognize that each time you yo-yo diet, each time you diet, you damage your body a little bit more. But what we see is, I did the diet and I lost the weight. We don't think about, we put ourselves further into kind of damaging our body. And each time we do that, we damage our metabolism more and more. And then we add time to that and age to that. And it becomes, these diets don't work. And we think, no, but they did work. I just need more willpower. But we don't recognize how they damaged our bodies, that we put ourselves to this extremity and our body had to lose the weight or had to do whatever. And then now we've damaged it. So the next round of diets, it's harder and harder and harder because it's not in congruence with our body. It's not loving to our body. It's not actually meeting our true needs. We do those things to ourselves because deep down we think if we finally lose that weight, we're going to be acceptable. And that's the deeper driver driving us to this. That's the deeper, sort of thought pattern that's going on. And so if you can hear those voices in your head, that means they're just more at the surface. And if you can't hear those voices, but subtly you have to stop and recognize and be aware. Do you keep judging yourself around your food choices? Do you keep judging yourself? And even if you're on an emotional eating journey, let's say you try intuitive eating and you're learning, I want to honor my body's hunger, and you're trying to be more compassionate with yourself. If you still have those thoughts, that means it's hooked into something that happened to you. There's a deeper part of you that doesn't feel accepted. There's a deeper part of you that is still feeling like it needs to be a certain way to finally be accepted. And that's going to trigger shame and add to your stress and trigger emotional eating. And so these thoughts keep you stuck in this pattern. And I know in this day and age, kind of what's kind of conventionally taught with meditation, or even in our society, we just think we have to power through, we have to willpower. I'm not going to listen to those thoughts. I'm not going to listen to that distraction. I'm not going to listen to this. Or even if we're in meditation, we ignore those thoughts and we let them float by and just focus on the present and let the thought float by. And we're doing ourselves a disservice. So because of the modality I use inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program, those thoughts are pulling you away from what's really going on. We're meant to actually go into those thoughts, grab onto them and follow them back to the root of what created them. Because what created these disempowering thoughts is a type of trauma. We are trying to protect ourselves from getting hurt. We're trying to protect ourselves from not belonging, from not being accepted. These thoughts tell us if we look a certain way, if we eat a certain way, if we be a certain way, then we're going to finally be accepted. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And so this is why it's important to recognize these thoughts. And if you still have these thoughts popping up after you've finished a program, you have more work to do. And so when I'm working with clients in the Emotional Eating Evolution program, it's a 12-week container. And in that container, what I see with clients is they shift out of their emotional eating pattern. They recognize when it's coming up, but they have the tools to see when they're triggered again in the future. And sometimes with clients, what happens is that they need to do the program again with me, or what a lot of clients do is they repeat the program on their own. Coming into a program like this, there are in-depth tools to help with these thoughts, with traumas, but there's no way to know how many layers you have. Depending on your age and how long you've been in this pattern, you might need more support. And so within the program, I offer the meditations you can practice on your own, but I offer in-depth somatic sessions with me, 2 of them. And sometimes clients need more than that because it depends on their level of trauma. And so you have to honor yourself and honor your journey. But what you have to notice is if these practices are working. So for me, I was able to catch my emotional eating triggers and go into them each time. But in other areas of my life, I needed more one-to-one support. And sometimes that's needed. So you have to be gentle with yourself on this journey. There is a structure and there is a step-by-step process, but sometimes we need more support, and that's okay too. Especially when these thoughts are lingering, we need to keep going deeper and deeper into them. We don't have to think, oh, I'm healed now. There's no timeline on this, and it doesn't mean you're going to be stuck in your emotional eating forever. But if you see a shift in my own journey, it took a couple of years because I was doing this on my own. There wasn't a practitioner just like myself to support me. If I had my program, it would have been a different story. I would have, if I had completed the program in the 12 weeks and I needed one-to-one support, that's what I would have done because I've had to have support from others in this modality. I love the somatic process. It's the only thing that's moved the needle, and it's the deeper trauma work we need in order to really integrate those parts of us, those limiting beliefs, those voices that are coming up, because they all stem from trauma. And if we just keep ignoring them, we're just running away from it. And it doesn't matter how much we do in our real lives to kind of do the right action steps without shifting at this deeper level, we're not going to make enough progress to shift out of those thoughts. Because if you can still hear those thoughts, that just means there's deeper work to be done on a emotional body somatic level. So when I'm working with clients in the Emotional Eating Evolution program, we are looking at all of these thoughts. I'm asking them, when are these thoughts coming up? What layers are there? And we're moving through that. And that is a big piece of resolving this, because you can have all the action steps. And, looking back on my journey, this was the biggest piece to helping me resolve my emotional eating. And then I could implement the right action steps. I could look at how I was feeling around food. It was much more clear, because when we have trauma, it creates sort of this layer where we can't fully drop into our body. We can't fully see clearly, but we have to honor that and You know, sometimes it may not feel fair that we have whatever level we have to move through to get to this ease and confidence, but it's so worth it. I've seen it through my own journey, and I've seen it with my clients. And, you know, this is life. Life is going to come up and there are going to be layers to it. I had another client complete the Emotional Eating Evolution program, and she didn't emotionally eat through the majority of the program. We got to her root, but what she said was really profound. She said, I haven't binged and I haven't emotionally eaten, and I checked in with her a year later and so forth, and she hadn't gone back. But she said, I don't have it now, but I don't know if it'll happen. And I'm open to it happening because I don't know. And it's the same for me. I didn't know in my own journey, but it's been over 10 years when I finally got into that route. And it wasn't a perfectly straight line. It was a couple of years to really nail this down, but it is so possible. And that's what I want to leave you with. So if you're ready to shift your emotional eating, the first step I always recommend to clients and to anyone coming to me is to learn to discern true from emotional hunger and to catch your triggers. So I have a free guide called What Are You Truly Hungry For? You can get started on that. I'll put the links below. And if you're ready to get that support and to move through your emotional eating and get to ease and confidence around food and in your body, you can find out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program. It's my 12-week container with the step-by-step process with support, guidance, and the in-depth tools to get you to ease and peace around food and in your body. So you can find out more below. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.